I am embarrassed by how many improvements I've made in my life out of spite against one particular ex-boyfriend. I broke up with him the day before a COVID lockdown. A few weeks later, I figured out through talking to a mutual friend that one of the main reasons that he was dating me was that he thought I was beautiful. He viewed me as a trophy girlfriend, which really sucked because even though I broke up with him, I thought the world of him. Like when we met, I was dazzled by this man because he's a physicist. I was homeschooled by extremely conservative evangelical Christians. I didn't get a science education. So to me, people in the sciences are magical. I loved that he could tell me all these amazing things about how the world worked. Like one night, we were driving under a full moon, and he told me, "Did you know that the moon doesn't only reflect light? Sometimes it glows in the dark because it catches charged particles from solar flares." Like, that's just an amazing thing to know. And early in our relationship, I would try to reciprocate by telling him fun facts about my interests. I'm a classical musician. I love the performing arts. So I'd tell him about plays and symphonies and exhibits I would go see. And he would always respond with, "Oh, I would hate that." And he would explain why he would be bored. But I just figured, he's a really smart guy. Maybe he has bad people skills. I thought I'd help him be more self-aware. So about 3 months into our relationship, I made a point of saying, I don't really like that you keep saying that you would hate everything I go see. It makes me uncomfortable telling you about things I like to do. And to his credit, he never said it again our entire relationship. Out loud, at least. In retrospect, it was painfully obvious that he still thought all of my interests were dumb and boring, but I did not let myself see that because I admired him so much and because I was self-conscious about being homeschooled. Like, I wished I'd had a normal education, so I latched onto this person who just seemed like he knew everything, only to find out after 2.5 years of dating the man that he really didn't think that much of me. I thought he would have valued me for the things I valued about myself, for my curiosity and my tenacity, but he really didn't seem to see that, and it bothered me. This all happened right at the beginning of COVID, so I found myself alone in my apartment under quarantine with a whole lot of spite and a lot of time on my hands. And this is when I launched what I called Spite Quest. I decided that anything I admired about this man, anything I idolized, I would become that. I would take all of his strengths as my own, starting with cooking. My ex-boyfriend was an amazing cook. He had all these cool gadgets, like a Vitamix. We'd go to dinner parties and he'd bring this fabulous spread of things that he'd made. So with my COVID stimulus check, I bought a Vitamix, a better one than his. I do only use it to make nut butter. So I probably paid too much, but it still makes me happy that it is better than his. Next phase of Spite Quest, skiing. My ex-boyfriend was really good at skiing. He skied competitively in high school. I should have been good at skiing. My homeschool group went skiing every Thursday in Minnesota. Fun fact about Minnesota, it's flat. The hills are artificial. So I was mortified when my then boyfriend took me skiing on a mountain and he could do these perfect turns all the way down and I was wobbling around like a baby giraffe. I got very frustrated on that ski trip with him. So back at the chalet, I was desperately Googling ways to get better at skiing. I found out that there's an indoor training center in Leesburg where you can train all year round on this gigantic indoor treadmill. I was so excited. I showed him the webpage for it, and he said, "Oh, that looks stupid." So as part of my post-breakup Spite Quest, I went to that indoor training center in Leesburg, and you know what? It was really helpful. And then, during Omicron winter, I woke up at 6 a.m. every Sunday to drive to Pennsylvania for an 8-hour ski academy. And I'm pleased to say, I ski really well now. But the pinnacle of Spite Quest, this was my white whale. My ex-boyfriend was part of this super exclusive, extremely competitive online trivia league. It's invite only. You can't just find this league on the internet. You have to know someone. The top-ranked players are Jeopardy contestants. My ex-boyfriend was really good at it. He used to send me questions from it just for fun, and it would kill me that I knew basically none of the answers. Like, if it was about science or math or world history, I had no clue, to the point that I would Google the really obvious ones. Like, if it was clearly something I should have learned in high school when I was learning a whole lot about the Bible instead. So last year, as the final phase of Spite Quest, I found someone to invite me into his super exclusive, extremely competitive online trivia league. And it sucked. Every morning, I would pull up the questions on my laptop, and it would be asking things like, what saint is this random cathedral in Russia named after? And I'm like, how does anybody know this stuff? But then I started to realize that the questions weren't random. It was possible to get better at them if you knew what to study. Like the film category. You didn't have to know every film ever made. You just had to know the ones that were significant in some way. So I made a list of all of the greatest movies of all time, ranked by the American Film Institute and the British Film Institute, and I added 1,001 movies to see before you die. So now I had a master list of 1,500 movies, and I started going through them one at a time. And I was using the movies as a way to get better at all of the other categories, like where was it shot? That's geography. When was it set? That's history. I started telling my friends about this project, and suddenly they were very interested in watching movies with me. So I found myself hosting movie nights and watching all of these films that I never would have seen otherwise. Like, there's this movie called The Wicker Man, not a Nicolas Cage movie. That is a remake. The original is a 1970s folk horror movie starring Christopher Lee when he was young and hot. It is folksy and campy and ridiculous and terrifying, and it is one of my favorite movies now. I never would have known it existed, except that it was a trivia question. So after a year of being in this league and studying movies nonstop, I am solidly the second to lowest ranked player in the lowest ranked bracket of my division. I remain deeply terrible. And my ex-boyfriend looms above me in a much higher bracket. It would literally take me years of studying to get anywhere near that man. But at this point, it doesn't matter anymore. Studying for trivia has become my obsession. It's become a way for me to learn all kinds of things that I didn't know about the world, and to host really fun movie nights with my friends. And my life is so much better because of it.